Koro syndrome. Koro syndrome is a rare culture-bound syndrome described by the intense and irrational fear that the genitals are shrinking or retracting into the body, and that this retraction will ultimately result in death. Symptoms of Koro syndrome may include experiencing extreme anxiety or panic about the perceived shrinking or retracting of the genitals. They may believe that the genitals are disappearing into the body and that this will lead to death or severe harm. Individuals may experience physical symptoms such as genital pain, tingling, or numbness, which they interpret as evidence of genital retraction. These physical sensations may be triggered by anxiety or stress. Individuals may become preoccupied with checking or measuring the genitals to confirm whether they are retracting. They may repeatedly examine themselves or seek reassurance from others about the size and appearance of their genitals. Boanthropy. Boanthropy is a rare psychological disorder described by the delusional belief that one has transformed into a cow. Individuals experiencing boanthropy genuinely believe that they have physically transformed into a cow, often adopting behaviors consistent with their perceived animal identity, such as eating grass and roaming fields. Symptoms of boanthropy may include presenting behaviors such as walking on all fours, eating grass or hay, or attempting to give milk or communicate with other animals by mewing. Individuals may experience a loss of their human identity and adopt the behaviors, movement, and vocalizations associated with the perceived animal. Jerusalem syndrome. Jerusalem syndrome is a rare psychological phenomenon. Symptoms of this syndrome are when a perfectly normal individual gets religious delusions, obsessions, or compulsions experienced after a visit to Jerusalem. It typically displays in individuals with a history of mental illness, religious passion, or tendency to psychotic episodes. The symptoms often involve individuals developing religious beliefs or experiencing delusions, believing themselves to be biblical figures or prophets. They may exhibit erratic behaviors such as preaching in public, engaging in religious rituals or ceremonies, or attempting to fulfill perceived religious missions. Phantom pregnancies. Phantom pregnancies, also known as false pregnancy, is a rare psychological sensation described by the belief of being pregnant despite the absence of a fetus. Symptoms of phantom pregnancy include missed periods, growing large abdominal, breast tenderness, nausea, weight gain, and even apparent fetus movements, but without being pregnant. The exact cause of phantom pregnancy is not fully understood, but is believed to involve a combination of psychological, hormonal, and social factors. Capgras delusion. Capgras delusion is a rare disorder described by the delusional belief that a familiar person, usually a family member or a close friend, has been replaced by an identical imposter or double. A person with Capgras delusion maintains the belief that the imposter looks and behaves exactly like the genuine person but is somehow different or fake. Symptoms of Capgras delusion include believing familiar person such as a spouse, parent, sibling, or friend has been replaced by an identical imposter or double. They may act violent or show suspicion towards the alleged imposter, showing a lack of emotional recognition or emotional distance when interacting with the alleged imposter, despite recognizing them visually as a family member. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Alice in Wonderland syndrome is a rare disorder described by distortions of visual perception, body image, and the experience of space and time. The syndrome is named after Lewis Carroll's famous novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, as some of the symptoms described in the book resemble the symptoms. Symptoms of Alice in Wonderland syndrome include perceiving objects as smaller or larger than they actually are, or changing shape or size, perceiving time as either slowing down or speeding up, experiencing visual or hearing hallucinations, often of fantasy or surreal imagery. Clinical lycanthropy. Clinical lycanthropy is a rare disorder described by the delusional belief that one has transformed or can transform into a wolf or a werewolf. A person with clinical lycanthropy may experience a range of symptoms, including firmly believing that they have physically transformed into a wolf, such as growing hair or wolf-like qualities. They may perceive changes in their human physical appearance, identity, and adopt the behaviors associated with wolves, such as growling or howling. Dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder is a complex psychological condition described by the presence of two or more different identities within the same person. Each identity may have its own distinct name, characteristics, memories, and behaviors. These identities may take control of the individual's behavior at different times, leading to gaps in memory and a sense of detachment from oneself. Symptoms of dissociative identity disorder may include presence of two or more distinct identities or personality states, identity confusion of who they actually are. Individual may experience memory lapses or blackouts for significant periods of time, particularly during switches between different identities. Walking corpse syndrome. Walking corpse syndrome is a rare disorder described by the delusional belief that one is dead, does not exist, or has lost organs, blood, or other vital parts of their body. Individuals with the syndrome may express a conviction that they are literally walking corpses, empty of life. Symptoms of walking corpse syndrome include delusional belief of being dead or non-existent, denial of body functions such as breathing, heartbeat, or digestion, belief that one's body is decomposing or other parts of the body are missing, feeling disconnected from reality, and social withdrawal and isolation due to belief of being dead. Apotemnophilia. Apotemnophilia is a rare psychological condition described by a strong and constant desire to amputate or change a healthy limb. Individuals with this condition typically experience a deep feeling that a specific limb does not belong to their body or feels unwanted. Symptoms of apotemnophilia may include persistent and intense desire for amputation or removal of a healthy limb, feelings of discomfort, distress with the presence of the limb, attempts to injure or self-amputate the affected limb, sometimes resulting in severe injury or disability, amputation-related thoughts, fantasies, or behaviors. Truman disorder. Truman disorder is a rare psychological disorder where individuals develop a belief that they are the central character in a staged reality television show, like the plot of the 1998 movie The Truman Show, hence the name. Symptoms of people experiencing Truman Show delusion may believe that their every move and interaction is being watched, recorded, or broadcasted to a global audience without their knowledge or consent. They may become paranoid, distrustful of others, or socially withdrawn as a result. Truman Show delusion is not officially recognized as a distinct psychiatric disorder, but rather falls under the wider category of delusional disorders. It is often associated with underlying mental health conditions such as bipolar disorder. Depersonalization. Depersonalization, derealization, is a disorder described by constant episodes of depersonalization or derealization. This involves a sense of detachment from oneself, feeling as though one's thoughts, feelings, or actions are not their own, or they are observing themselves from outside their body, feeling as though they are not real or the world is unreal. Individuals with DPDR may describe feelings that they are in a dream, watching themselves from afar, or questioning their existence. These symptoms can be distressing and disruptive to daily functioning, leading to significant damage in social, occupational, or academic areas of life. Visual agnosia. Visual agnosia is a neurological condition described by the inability to recognize or interpret visual information, despite intact vision and basic visual perception. Symptoms of individuals with visual agnosia are having difficulty identifying familiar objects, faces, or scenes, even though their visual insight, color perception, and other visual functions are unaffected. Conversion disorder. Conversion disorder is a psychological condition described by the presence of certain symptoms that cannot be explained by medical illness. These symptoms may include motor or sensory disturbances such as paralysis, blindness, deafness, weakness, numbness, or seizures, which often resemble those of a neurological disorder but do not have a medical explanation. In other words, the symptoms are believed to be display of psychological distress rather than a result of an actual physical disease or injury. Diogenes syndrome. Diogenes syndrome is a behavioral disorder characterized by extreme self-neglect, domestic degradation, and social withdrawal. It is named after the Greek philosopher Diogenes of Sinope, who famously lived like a dog in his own filth and rejected social norms. Diogenes syndrome symptoms are typically living in extreme filthy and dirty conditions, extremely neglecting personal hygiene, household cleanliness, and basic self-care. They may hoard items with no attachment, refuse assistance from others, and isolate themselves from family and community support networks. The syndrome often occurs in older adults, particularly those with underlying mental health issues or neurological disorders such as dementia. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more interesting videos.